All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change. All you have to do is follow 3 simple rules. 1, never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected. 2, take it outside. Never start anything inside the bar unless it's absolutely necessary. And 3, be nice. I want you to remember that it's a job. It's nothing personal. I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Well, how are we supposed to know when that is?
You won't. I'll let you know.
Welcome to the Screen the Screener College Basketball Podcast with your hosts, Mike Randle and Gus Kearns.
It's time not to be nice. It's time to keep it real and tell it like it is about the Nevada Wolfpack. Because you see, here on the Screen the Screener podcast, we keep it real. We let you know when it's time to worry. We don't just follow the fans of the team who continually stick their head in the sand and say everything's fine. As long as we get the W, that's what matters. No way. No way. This Nevada Wolfpack team, the same team that had the miracle comeback against Texas. Oh yes, last year, you talk about the Cincinnati game. How about the Texas game? How about the Texas game? You were losing the entire regulation, almost the entire regulation, and then Mo Bamba fouls out, and you go to overtime and win. How about that one? And then we'll get to the one against Cincinnati, the 22-point comeback. And then we'll get to the fact that Cody and Caleb Martin and Jordan Caroline all came back to school. And what they come back for? They come back to win the Mountain West? They come back to make the NCAA tournament and win a game? Maybe the Sweet 16 again. Back-to-back Sweet 16s. No, that's not why they came back. They came back to make a Final Four. That's it. That's why they passed on the money. That's why they passed on turning pro. Every team doesn't have the same expectations. It would be really nice if Towson and Liberty came and started the year this year thinking they could win the NCAA championship. Be nice. But they probably won't. But Nevada could. And so you can't tell me that if Nevada falls short, gets eliminated in round of 32, round of 16, gosh, even the first round, that this season is a success. It's not. It's a failure. Because you have goals. Gus and I have goals for the podcast. We have goals. We had goals when we started this. You have goals. You have goals for your family. You have goals for your profession. You have personal goals. Maybe you're running a marathon. Maybe you're working out. Maybe you're coaching your kids. Maybe you're trying to fix something in your house. You have a goal. It's how life works. We don't just exist and say, oh, I wonder what I'll do today. Let's see. No, it's not how it works. You have goals. And Nevada's goal was the Final Four. That's why they all came back. And so far, they've played poorly. Poorly. And they've been playing poorly for way too long. But if you listen to the Nevada fans on Twitter, like I have, all's fine. No problem. I mean, Nevada's 18-1. They only lost at New Mexico, but that's okay. That's no problem. New Mexico's ranked 174th in the country as per KenPom. New Mexico's 9-9. Lost at home to North Texas and Penn and Colorado, who got crushed at Utah, by the way. As I told you they would. 5-0 on my Action Network picks. Thank you very much. And they didn't just lose at New Mexico. They lost by 27. 27! And so if you talk to these Nevada fans on Twitter, they're just going to sit there and tell you all's fine. It was a funny one yesterday. Michael McDonald sent us a tweet yesterday. I put out It's time to start officially worrying about Nevada. Losing at home to Air Force 19-16 with 3 minutes left in the first half. Time for a sense of urgency, boys. The cute little comeback in Cincinnati's long gone. Here comes Michael McDonald. I don't think people realize this is a completely different team than last year. It's totally different. Totally different. Caleb Martin. Cody Martin. Jordan Caroline. Very different. Totally crazy different, right? Nevada isn't going to score like last year either. Really? Last year, Caleb Martin, Jordan Caroline, Cody Martin combined for a little over 40 points per game. Team averaged 83. This year, Jordan Caroline, Caleb Martin, Cody Martin average 38 points per game. And they have Jazz Johnson. And they have Trey Porter. And the team's averaging 81 points per game. Not scoring like last year. Not at all. Not close. He says they play great, capital letters for emphasis. Love it. Great defense. I write back, they are not playing great defense. They allow easy baskets all game long, which is why if you watch Nevada, they're always down in the first half. They're not down because they're playing great defense, lockdown defense. Rely too much on late game stops. They do get late game stops. They do. They say, now we're going to play defense. We're playing Boise State. We're down 1 with a minute left. Now we're going to play. But that's probably not the best way to be, right? I don't think they're Superman. I mean, the Dream Team in 85 even practiced hard, right? Those Magic Johnson versus Michael Jordan games. What's Nevada doing? Because whatever they're doing in practice with Coach Musselman and his golf shirt, because he's casual. So chill, man. So chill. Everything's fine, man. Golf shirts. Maybe we can try bathing suit bottoms. Hawaiian bathing suit bottoms. That'd be good, right? Casual. Flip-flops, maybe Coach Muss. All's good, man. But I don't think that's the way to be. So Michael McDonald writes back, 21st in defensive efficiency according to KenPom. Okay, here we go. So now Mr. McDonald's going to throw stats at me. The guy who was a math major, has a double math undergrad graduate degree, going to throw stats at me. Okay, good. Well, let me come back at you, Mike. If you look at defensive efficiency, and of course that stat does matter, but it's a stat in isolation, right? You can't just look at a stat and say that's the be all and end all, right? Reason being, if you look at defensive efficiency, Florida's 7th. How's their season going? St. Louis is 14th, Georgia Tech is 16th, and Lipscomb is 19th. So here's my question. Back in the offseason, was Florida, St. Louis, Georgia Tech, or Lipscomb thinking that they were a top 5 team in the country? Probably not. So you can take your defensive efficiency and shove it and stop isolating statistics. Because the difference is you're playing in the Mountain West. Your last 10 games have been against the following teams: Grand Canyon, South Dakota State, Akron, Utah State, New Mexico, lost by 27, San Jose State, Fresno State, Boise State, and Air Force. So congratulations. You're efficient against subpar competition. And that's what it is, because that's what you said when you came back to school. You were saying, we're going for a Final Four. So you know how you get evaluated, Wolfpack? You get evaluated like Kentucky. You get evaluated like Tennessee. You get evaluated like Duke and like Virginia, because those were the teams that you were ranked with. And so Michael McDonald writes back to me, wait a minute. They're still 18-1, right? Isn't a W a W? If they win by 1 in March against Akron, do they still advance? Oh, Michael McDonald. So what you're saying, Michael, is that as long as they win, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't. They could win their remainder schedule. Home against Boise, win by 1, that's okay. Home against New Mexico, win by 1, that's okay. Home against UNLV, that's fine. Win at Air Force by 1, that's fine. Then what is the point exactly of practicing? What is the point of trying to perform well? Do you think Nevada is performing well when they need a last-second three-pointer by Cody Martin, who's shooting 18% from three-point range this year, to win at Boise State? Is that performing well? That is. So that gives you confidence that they're going to be able to beat Tennessee, and they're going to beat Duke or Virginia or North Carolina, or Michigan, and the list goes on and on. Really? Because if you want to think this through, the team last year was 29-8, and they went in the tournament and beat Texas by 4 in overtime, then Cincinnati by 2 because of a miracle comeback, and then lost to Loyola Chicago. My point is, They were so tenuous, and so easily could they have lost to Texas in round 1. And you know what happened? None of this. I don't think Cody Martin be back. I don't think Caleb Martin be back. I don't think Jordan Caroline be back. So you can't look at it through the prism that the ends justify the means. Here are the top 10 teams in KenPom right now. Virginia, Duke, Michigan State, Gonzaga, Tennessee, Michigan, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Purdue, and Kansas. I'm going to go through each team and give you just one win that blows away any win Nevada's had this year. And I can give you $1 million for each one. Virginia has played teams in the ACC, which are we going to agree that the ACC is a better conference than the Mountain West? Can we agree to that? Or we're not going to argue that? Air Force, North Carolina, right? No. Virginia's been pounding everyone. They pounded Florida State, Clemson, Virginia Tech. Some of those games are on the road. And they lost to Duke at home by 2. Duke beat Texas Tech on a neutral court. Beat Virginia. Beat Florida State away without Cam Reddish. Michigan State, maybe the most impressive team in the country right now. Either them or Tennessee, right? Pound Purdue. Pound Penn State. Beat Nebraska on the road. So many wins there. Gonzaga beat Duke. That's a big one. Without Killian Tilly. That's pretty good, right? In fact, Gonzaga, who plays in a conference that's comparable to the Mountain West, is at least showing the ability to dominate some teams in conference. They're winning at Portland by 23. They're beating Loyola Marymount at home by 18. They're beating San Francisco on the road by 13. They're beating Pacific at home by 31. Nevada's not doing that. They're having uber close games that they're pulling out late in the second half. That's a problem. Tennessee finally got challenged. Pounded Florida, pounded Arkansas, pounded Georgia by 36. Beat Gonzaga on a neutral court. Tremendous wins. Michigan was the hottest team in the country, blowing out Villanova on the road, blowing out North Carolina at home, burying Purdue at home. And even lately, when the threes haven't gone down that much, they still win at Illinois by 10, a top 100 team in KenPom. They beat Indiana at home by 11. Virginia Tech, shorthanded Virginia Tech, beat Purdue by 6 in the non-conference. Beat Notre Dame at home by 15. Beat Wake Forest at home by 16. Winning in conference in dominating fashion. North Carolina has had their trouble, has had some injuries, which they could use as an excuse. Nice win over Miami. North Carolina State on the road by 8. Number 30 in KenPom. They beat Pittsburgh by 25 away. Pittsburgh's pretty good. The Boilermakers, who struggled, who lost 4 out of 5 in late November, early December. Lost to Florida State away by 1. Got blown out by Michigan State away. Won at home by over Maryland by 2. Lost to Texas by 4. Lost to Notre Dame, Crossroads Classic, by 8. But then they've gotten rolling. Beat Wisconsin away in overtime. Number 16 team in KenPom. Blew out Rutgers at home by 35. Never happens. Ever. With Nevada. And Indiana just beat them at home by 15. And how about Kansas with their issues? No Azubuike, gone for the year. What have they done? Beat Baylor away, number 46 in KenPom. Beat Texas at home, number 29 in KenPom. Lost a tough one at West Virginia. You think Nevada would win at West Virginia right now? No shot. And they beat Oklahoma at home, number 28 in KenPom. They're still finding a way to win, which Nevada is not. And listen, I am the Nevada guy. Gus was on them last year. Gus was on them right away. I doubted. Now this year, I'm driving the bus. I love Nevada. I have them in the Final Four. But folks, if you're telling me everything's fine, you're just not paying attention. If you're telling me everything's fine, you are obviously so clouded in take bias that you've lost all sensibility. It reminds me of Leah Remini, who was in the Scientology thing, and then she left and they started getting on her. Now, I'm not here to judge anybody's religion, but I will tell you that any of those situations was odd. So I compare a Nevada fan who is telling me that all is fine, stay calm, all is well. You're not seeing things. You have take lock. Maybe you're just so shrouded in the cult, you can't see the forest through the trees. You should go out there on Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah and tell your story and say, no, everything's fine. It's good. They were losing Air Force in the first half at home, but that's okay. They were losing to Boise State, who's 8-10 this year, but they came back and won because an 18% three-point shooter hit a 3, so all's fine. They were in trouble against Fresno away, but Fresno's good, right? They are. Top 54 in the country. That's fine. How about the Akron game? Oh, it's John Gross. Okay, it's John Gross. You beat Akron at home by 6. Okay. Following the South Dakota State game, where you won by 4 at home. Well, it's Mike Daum, right? There's always a reason. There's always the other team. So if they played a middle school team, is that the only time that we could say it was a bad loss or a bad win if it was close? What is the measuring stick? Because last I checked, BYU Pacific, Little Rock, Cal Baptist, Tulsa, Massachusetts, Loyola, Chicago, USC, Arizona State, Grand Canyon, South Dakota State, Akron, Utah. Not the best non-conference schedule in the world. Last I checked. So is it too much to ask them to blow somebody out other than Little Rock at home on November 16th? They're not playing defense. They never played in the first half. I thought it was because they didn't want to get into foul trouble. I thought it was the brilliance of Musselman, right? It's not. It's not the brilliance of Musselman. It's not what it is. It's them not playing defense. And if you look at their offense, let's keep it real. They're not a great offensive rebounding team. They're okay defensive rebounding. They're not a great three-point shooting team, 32.6% this year. Last year was 39.2%. So they're shooting the three a lot worse. And last year, they never turned the ball over on offense. One of the lowest turnover teams on offense in the country. They were number 1 last year in offensive turnover percentage. This year, they're still doing well. They don't turn it over. They're 6th. But then what's the problem? The problem is they're not making their threes, and they really don't run much offense. There's no structure there. I told you my concern is that Musselman is a let's go guy. He's not an X&O guy. You don't have the same team as last year. You have the same players, but they're not scoring. So I don't give a damn that your defensive efficiency is high. Because if you didn't play in the Mountain West, it wouldn't be. Your defensive efficiency is high because you played Air Force, Boise State, and Fresno, and San Jose State. So if this team is going to make a Final Four, they need to start playing better and be more efficient on offense and defense. Caleb Martin's only shooting 31% from three-point range. That's a problem. Sure, that's a problem. But what about the fact that Jazz Johnson is shooting 47% from three-point range? Does that make it up a little bit? What about having Trey Porter this year, the big man inside? Maybe he should play more than 18 minutes per game. They have enough. Why isn't Jordan Brown playing more? Maybe Nizre Zuzwa should play. Nizre Zuzwa shot 37% at Bryant from three-point range. He's not even seeing a court. 7 minutes against Utah State, 4 minutes against New Mexico, 7 minutes against San Jose State. What's the problem? Because against Boise State, where you were in a whole lot of trouble, Nevada, your 5 guys played. Jordan Brown played 2 minutes. Trayshawn Thurman played 21. Jazz Johnson played 31. Not working. You're shooting 11 of 17 from the foul line at Boise State and 9.25 from three-point range. And there's a team that's going to the Final Four? I don't think so. So listen, all you Nevada fans, you can continue to drink the Kool-Aid and tell me everything is fine. But I gotta tell you, don't pound your chest when you beat Colorado State on Wednesday. I don't want to hear it. I have no interest. You need to start blowing people out. You need to string together a couple impressive games. If you can't beat New Mexico and you get blown out by the Lobos by 27 points on the road, there's a problem. And I have never, ever seen a college basketball team who's played poorly and constantly has to come from behind against Arizona State on a neutral court. And by the way, the same Arizona State team that then lost at Vanderbilt by 16 and lost at home back-to-back to Princeton, Utah. So maybe, just maybe, Arizona State isn't as good as we thought they were. And you had to come from behind against Tulsa and against Boise, and you haven't looked good against the other teams as well. Probably the first time I knew this was a problem was Friday, November 23rd against Massachusetts. On a neutral court that was in Nevada, by the way, you gave up 87 points to UMass. UMass is 7-11 right now. They are 162nd on offense in adjusted offensive efficiency, and they've lost 6 consecutive games. And that's the team who is blistering you from 3. So folks, just like in Roadhouse, when Patrick Swayze, aka Dalton, tells the bouncers, be nice, which is what I'm saying, until it's time not to be nice. I'm telling everyone, and I'm telling Nevada, and I'm telling Coach Musselman, it's time to start playing well. Because if you don't, you're going to be an early exit in the NCAA tournament, and this season is a failure. Nothing short of a failure. And if you're not worried and you're not panicking, something's wrong with you. Because if playing well doesn't matter anymore, then what the hell are we doing here? What are we doing analyzing teams? Playing well matters. You need to start playing well, and you're in a bad conference. So if you think you can just flip the switch and get in a march and start blowing people out, stop. Because you saw with a team like Virginia, as disciplined, as great as they are, as hard as they work, it's hard to win in the tournament. And that's when you play well all year and you're disciplined and you play in the ACC against teams like Duke and North Carolina. But when you play in the Mountain West and you're excited about coming back in the second half against Air Force, that's a problem. So this is a wake-up call. It's time to not be nice, and it's time to have a sense of urgency. And I need to see Nevada with a couple 20-point wins. And then I'll feel better about the team that I think can still make the Final Four with Cody and Caleb and Jordan Caroline inside and Jazz Johnson threes and the mojo and the chemistry and the team and Trey Porter with the two-handed blocks that I put on Twitter. But if I don't see that and you think this team continuing to perform mediocre as it does is going to make the Final Four, you're lost. You're absolutely lost. It's time to panic. It's time to get it on. It's time to get real. Hey, Nevada, wake up before it's too late.